Let me ask you this question. This one's actually from Linda Van Pelt from the Netherlands.
Okay.
She asks, which character in the Band of Brothers would you have loved to play if you didn't play Babe?
Now, the obvious answer to that is, I could only have played Babe. And I could only have played Babe. And I can't, because we've seen it, I can't imagine anyone else being, any of the other characters being played by any other actor than the actors that actually played them. Who would I have liked to play? Speirs was really, I was fascinated by his character, Speirs.
Right.
But, I would never have been cast.
Now, since you brought up Speirs, did we ever get to the bottom of the rumor with him and the 20 German soldiers and the cigarettes and nobody but Speirs knows the truth to that, right?
I think you're right, Nightmare. I think the only person that knows is Speirs. But a war is a strange and terrible thing. I mean, he had that sort of very dark sort of side to him, and then he had that whole other side where they need to get the message, they need to get through the enemy lines, so he just runs through the enemy lines, and then he runs back again, and all the Germans are just looking at him like, what is he doing?
That was one of my favorite scenes. My brother came over and we watched that episode, and I said, you got to watch it. You sit still. And I grabbed his arm and I made sure he didn't move a muscle, because that was one of the most incredible things, story or not, even the way that you guys portrayed it in the series, it was amazing. Here's this guy that everyone just looked up and said, did he really just do that? And then he goes, wait a minute, is he going back? It was beautiful. Absolutely spot on.
Megan Fitzgerald from Ontario was nice enough to send this question to me, and I thought it was pretty interesting. She wanted to know what, I guess you can call it, a medium of acting do you prefer, like television, stage, or film?
I tell you what, the bit I love the most is when I'm rehearsing for a piece of theatre in the rehearsal room. I love performing in front of an audience, but if I could be in perpetual rehearsal, I probably would, because it's just fun. You're just hanging out with good people, good, interesting, imaginative people, and knocking ideas around and bouncing off each other, and it's a safe environment. And theatre, if it wasn't for the audiences, theatre would just be wonderful.
That's what we used to say about retail. If it wasn't for the customers, this place would be awesome.
Exactly. I thought the same when I used to work behind a bar. But I mean, they're very different. TV and theatre are very, very different disciplines. TV, you've got to kind of be there all day. And whereas theatre, you're there for that 2-hour burst, and it's a lot more intense and much more heightened than the television, but where it comes in tiny little bursts. I think recently, though, probably my favourite medium has been the radio. We have a very, very healthy radio drama tradition in Britain with the BBC, especially on BBC Radio 4. And I've been doing lots of radio drama, and that's just a joy to do. Not least of all because you don't have to learn your lines. But because you get asked to do things people would never dream of asking you to do on the television or on stage. You can play, anyone of any height, of pretty much any age, from anywhere in the world. So recently, this year I've been doing a lot of radio, and I've just loved it. I've really, really loved it. I think if I had to choose one, it would probably be the theatre. Mm-hmm. You can't beat it, but the money sucks. Really.
Oh, yeah, who are you telling? Did you have another question over there, darling?
I think that about sums it up, because okay. I know we're going to ask the question.
We're going to ask the question. And of course, since you have listened to some, you know what the question is. But the question here is, how would you sum up the heroes that you played, the real men of Easy Company?
Babe Heffron is, without doubt, singularly, one of the most... I mean, I think I mentioned a couple of these attributes earlier, but he's just one of the funniest, humblest, most generous people I've ever had the fortune to meet. He's just unfailingly funny and polite, and you know, when he met my partner, he's a real, in the true old style, back in the day sense, a true gentleman. And you know, all of those things just make him a wonderful, wonderful human being. When you add on top of that the fact that he was not willing, but actually actively seeking, because you know, he was eligible for an exemption from going overseas because of the work he did down at the docks, but he didn't want it. He tore it up, and you know, he was determined. He was going, and he was going to go and be one of the best, and you know, join this new style of soldier, the paratroopers. And you know, when you, just as a human being, he's a wonderful man. But as I say, when you look at the completely selfless and you know, I say thoughtless, not in the negative sense when you call someone thoughtless, but I mean without even thinking about, you know, the peril that he may have been putting himself, you know, in the way of, you know, he just, this is something that needs to be done. I guess I better go and do it. I don't think we'll ever see men like that again, I guess is what I'm saying. I don't know what the response would be now to people if this, a similar kind of war broke out, what the response of the general populace would be. Maybe it would be the same, but I don't know. I think that particular generation of men were so brave and so stoic about it, about this bravery, that, you know, they'll never mention. I think they're one-offs. They're one-offs, and I think that's why we're here talking about them, because they're, you know, just ordinary superheroes. I think ordinary superheroes.
Fantastic answer, Robin. Absolutely amazing. Robin, I want to thank you very much for spending the time that you did for today with us.
Yes, sir.
It's been an absolute pleasure. An absolute pleasure. Thank you for the laughs.
Well, you're very welcome. The chat room started off the chant about 10 minutes ago about what a great guest you have been.
They're just going nuts, saying goodbye, thank you, and they're calling you babe.
All right, Robin, it was great talking with you. Until next time, which I hope isn't too far away, thank you very much from Black Sky Radio, myself and Jenna. Thank you.
Not at all. Thank you very, very much indeed. Have a great night.